that I was arrested. And Natalie claimed this too, that I was arrested. Yep. Her mother also claimed that I was taken to the Virginia Beach Psych Hospital, and I wasn't. If you can see, it says ED medication administration. That's emergency room, emergency department. It says 10/23/2016 at 10:13. Sodium chloride 0.9% bolus infusion 1,000 milliliters. I believe the situation actually happened on the morning, and I don't know exactly when I was released. But thank goodness this has those numbers on it. Just because I can't remember it at exactly the moment that you want me to recall it doesn't mean that it didn't happen, and it doesn't make it a lie. See, it says right there, 10/23/2016. That was only a few days after my birthday. My birthday was last time I saw Natalie. As you guys have gotten to see, Natalie was insistent on getting me a present, insistent on getting me a cake, insistent that we go out. She insisted over and over again. You get to see the messages with us that show that we were friends, that it had nothing to do with sex whatsoever. And I'm showing you my medical records. And it isn't just here. This is the day I got out of the hospital here when the cops tried to pretend I was schizophrenic and delusional here in Chesapeake, or in Tillamook, Oregon. Like I said, coast to coast, same tactics. You tell on a bad cop, you're fucked. They all become bad cops. They make a mistake like this at a hospital. Well, it's a pretty big mistake. Let's show you what it is that I was diagnosed with. Now, this right here, let's see, anxiety state. And they didn't know what anxiety state. They didn't understand what autism is. They didn't understand nothing. What they wanted is to give me a whole list of places to go, the closest one being 8 miles away. Now, they asked me if I used any street drugs. I said I haven't smoked any pot since before I came to Virginia, because they and her sister are trying to get sober. And obviously, they're on harder drugs, but not doing any drugs around them and not being on any drugs around them is pretty important. It also says history of diabetes mellitus. I don't have diabetes. I checked on that many times since then. I even ate a whole loaf of bread to see if it would end my existence. It fucking didn't. I was told, hey, Sean, it's not the sugar that you consume, it's the bread. So if you eat bread and it makes you sick like that, and they showed me what it looks like on the friggin' videos and explanations and all that other crap. Like, no, that's not what bread does to me. I love bread. Bread is delicious. But if you look at that, all three of these are very vague or wrong. So if I tell them that I'm not smoking pot, that I haven't smoked pot since before I came to Virginia, that I wasn't going to be coming to see Alicia and Natalie, stoned, obviously. But another thing you don't look at is that, well, if you've been paying attention, the message that I was showing, what was it, yesterday, the day before, of Alicia Bollinger, and the messages between her and I, that was from August. That was 2 months before I actually made it. That's because I had to go help out Jamie Curtis and her son. So, of course, the diabetes thing is BS. Marijuana use is BS, and whatever anxiety state that they decided based on what they were told by the cops and not looking at my phones, because as soon as they put you into a place like this, an emergency department, they don't allow you to have your phones back because the cops took them away. They will allow you to have them as you're kicked out the door. I was there for just long enough for them to put 2 bags of saline water in me because I was severely dehydrated ever since my birthday. And I've shown time and again, Natalie and Alicia Bollinger were both aware of that before we ever went out on my birthday to Elliot's Coffee Grounds. So, of course, we've got the names of the physicians, the names of the hospitals, the phone numbers, the friggin' addresses. I mean, it certainly doesn't look like a psych hospital. It doesn't look like I was arrested either. So what's this all about? Not that the hospital did any better. It says my name on it. It says my date of birth. And of course, it does in fact say October 23rd, 2016. October 18th, 1980. October 23rd, 2016. So it was only 5 days after my birthday that I was released. There was a food line, kind of catty corner from the hospital. That's where I stayed the night. There was a man there who was real good to me. I didn't have the ability to charge my phone. This is where a lot of these situations where I'm told to record it and I haven't been able to record it, it's because I haven't been able to charge my phone. Or I get down to the very, very bottom of what's on my phone, like, the last 12%. And if I need to make an emergency call, I need that last 12%. So let's look at a lot of community correction programs. Most of these are for women. A lot of them are for drug addicts. There's also stuff from Colorado. This is from Pearl Street Mall, Starbucks. Some of my favorite people. We've got stuff from all sorts of correction facilities in Colorado and Nebraska and all sorts of other places where cops decided if they pretended that I was schizophrenic and delusional, they could prevent me from turning them in, and they could prevent me from turning in the evidence I've been showing on this YouTube channel. I told you I was in 2 separate prisons in Nebraska, Diagnostic and Evaluation Center, and of course, the Lincoln Correction Center. Yep, absolutely. And of course, they have the dates on them. Now, what ended up happening with this, right? Well, we've already shown that, but I'm going to show it again. Also, I want to show that I have my hospital records from Haxton, Colorado as well. I got hospital records from all over the place. Also, I got a bunch of stuff for filing restraining orders all over the place, filing stalking protection orders, because it's not just here. I've got voluntary statement forms from Dewey County, Nebraska to Abingdon, Virginia to just all over the place. And you also get to see they push the homeless thing, right? Here's some of the information I needed for Cheyenne County. And of course, this is the crap that they give you. When you're having to deal with this abuse and these assaults, this is what they send you to. Homeless services over and over again. This one's from Nebraska. Now, of course, I also have a lot of stuff that I wrote down here. There's a lot more. Let me show you. There's this rest of this box. That's where all of this came from. So, of course, I'm going to carry that with me as well. So, we've also got evidence from mail of where I was staying and when I was staying there. 4/1/2020. That was Dennis and Brenda Dickinson's place. That's the same place that I was when Natalie called me and said that she was going to end her life if I wasn't already on the road to see her. Now, if you remember looking at what Alycias sent me from August 11th, months earlier, obviously I was late getting there. Now let's see if we can find anything important in all of this crap. This is the stuff I have to carry around with me all the time, and I am going to go make some copies of this and carry it around with me all the time too. So there's protection order stuff. Here's stuff that's verified by, I had to go look his name up and write it down, Michael Yasumoto, state forensic analyst. He analyzes electronic information. And of course, this is through the Kenzie group. And this is a threat against my sister. And there's a bunch of them. Everywhere I go, I have to listen to this stuff. I've also got the forensics evaluations. I make sure that I have at least 2 copies of the one with the name so I can hand it to them and say, hey, I also have the entire evaluation I'm willing to hand to you. In some cases, I have the evaluation itself. Where is it? All right, there's stuff from Mona. That's from Ernie. That's from Lori. That's from Deputy Taylor. Ah, yes. Okay, so what we're looking for is right here. This is Marcia Estrada. And we can see that this kind of a, sorry about the shakiness. I'm trying not to have a heart attack, you know. Marcia Estrada, it says very clearly that I'm not schizophrenic. Our evaluation was, of course, this is when she wrote it to the courts or anyone else who needed to know it. This is from Sears House Incorporated. It's in Nebraska, Scottsbluff. It says we met on October 18th, 2021. So I was in Scottsbluff, Nebraska. They had to drop the charges and let me out. Unfortunately, they'd also prevented me from going to court and slandered my name in court. Like I said, standard gaslighting. Calling them mentally ill, pretending they're schizophrenic if you're young and pretty and female, or you have a position of power and trust. You can abuse that position of power and trust to pretend that somebody is schizophrenic or delusional, but not everybody falls for it. This right here says she's talking about PTSD here. The most common symptoms of this disorder are anxiety, hypervigilance, and a feeling of impending doom. It does not appear Sean experiences any hallucinations or other psychosis. He does not meet the diagnostic criteria for schizophrenia. Sincerely, Marcia Estrada. It's got all of her information, but there's a bunch of those from the Oregon State Hospital as well, as I've showed. Now, because we're talking about Nebraska, like I said, racist redneck town. This is from December 21st, 2020. This is to Judge Randon Rowland and to Sergeant Jones, Troop E. And it's about the plight to get this done. For 9 months, I had to listen to the, and there's a lot of recordings of this too. I had to listen to the Dual County Sheriff's Department tell me that I'm supposed to do this stuff through Megan Missigatis at the Nebraska Autism Society. And for 9 months, she told me that that's not her job. And for 9 months, I told the Dual County Sheriff's Department that they needed to tell her that. And for 9 months, I told her that she needed to tell the Dual County Sheriff's Department that. For 9 months. 9 months. But it also shows that I told the truth about the situation. It shows that she sent it to Judge Rowland and Sergeant Jones. She did not leave any contact information in it. However, they do have her contact information. And then, of course, here's notices of dismissal. I tried to turn in Scott DaCosta. He had me put in, now if you look at the dates on this, August 17th, 2021. And of course, we look at the dates on these. 3/4/2021. 3/4/2021. 2/15/2021. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to show this for a second. Pregnancy support. Yeah. That was in Nebraska too. So this right here, these dismissals, August 17th of 2021. And when I spoke with Megan Missigatis, October 18th, 2021. October 18th of 2021, I was still incarcerated. Still incarcerated. Marcia Estrada herself stated very clearly that I am not schizophrenic nor delusional. Dr. Arata at the Oregon, or at the Nebraska, hold on a second, not the Diagnostic and Evaluation Center, but the Lincoln Correction Center. I was in there for misdemeanors. I was trying to turn in the involvement with the Dual County Sheriff's Department before Natalie was killed, where they just wanted to play like I was trying to kill myself instead of paying attention to the assaults I was trying to turn in, the threats against my life and my friends' and family's lives, the electronic harassment, people making account after account in my friends' and family's names. I just wanted that to stop. I wanted to be able to go see my older brother and my friends in Boulder, Colorado. A lot of them are dead now. I want you to take a look at this. There's 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. And they all say the same thing. They all say insufficient evidence to support a conviction because state is unable to locate previously recorded conversations and victims involved do not wish to testify at trial. Now, what was I trying to do with Megan Missigatis when I was arrested for this? Well, I was told that I had to go somewhere safe. Scott Costa was supposedly not going to be able to abuse his position of power. He'd been running around telling people in Chapel, Nebraska I was schizophrenic and delusional for months. And people were telling me about it. I knew something was coming. Then the vehicles, police vehicles, started driving around the house like mad. And it wasn't just not police vehicles. There's only the sheriff's department. The county seat is a town of 500. It's Chapel, Nebraska. And of course, the county only has 2 towns, and the next biggest town only has about 250. So we're not talking about a big place here. I had to deal with Dual County Sheriff's deputies who I was trying to turn, driving around my house over and over and over again. I had to deal with state troopers driving around my house over and over and over again, except it wasn't my house, it was Dallas Richmond's. Right across the street from Dennis and Brenda Dickinson's at 41 Thompson Avenue. And even though they were right across the street, I never talked to them except when Dennis came out to threaten me one day. It was funny. Actually, it wasn't. It was threatening and imposing. But I stood my ground and told him how it is. I've been following the instructions that I've been given. Despite the fact that by the time I was given these instructions, this is here in Tillamook, Oregon. All right, 11/19/2022. Again, it's got my name on it. It's definitely me. It says, please continue to locate the time within each video for hard evidence required by the police to file an investigation. Well, the problem is there's a lot of the evidence that it's long-term, that it's the same people. It's not just Andrew Wolnez who's a psycho like this. So, of course, this isn't all of it. This isn't even close to all of it. Yeah, that's right. When I said I was put in prison and shipped from one facility to another, I was in 2 separate prisons, and they just give me homeless paperwork and pregnancy crap everywhere I go. Or I've got several lists here that, because I was in prison, that it's supposed to help me. And all of the things on there are literally only for felons or child molesters, and I'm not either of those. So the thing is, obviously, the stuff that they had me released with, that they have to give out to all prison inmates who are released, except that I wasn't in as a prisoner of the, I was a dual county prisoner. It's called county safekeep. Dual county is too small to have a staffed jail, so they can transfer you wherever they want, including 900 miles away to Lincoln, Nebraska. And then $600 bail becomes a whole lot more than that. They were holding me in the prison to try to get somebody to pretend I was schizophrenic or delusional. And they were willing to hold me as long as it took to try to get that. And as you can see with Marcia Estrada, as well as with multiple mental health specialists since then, that is obviously not the truth. I've been following this. I've also been trying to go to friends and family. You can see this is not my first rodeo in a KKK town. I wasn't joking. Now, of course, I carry the stuff with me everywhere, over and over again. Anyway, my bed is made of not just that box, but there's also a box right here and a box right here. There's also several other boxes. Who I used to be versus how I'm treated now just ain't the same. You know, I used to be an artist once, and I still try, you know. It's not like I never make an effort to continue what it was that I was doing before. My studies are important to me. Philip II of Macedon, Corinthian helmet, samurai helmet. This is from late Edo period. This is a Roman Gallic helmet. They actually took those from the Gaul, of course, just a little bit of Romanization, or a segmentata, and of course the infamous pilum. Here I was working on a different type of gyromat that could be used. Basically, it could be used for a gyrocopter, but it could also be used for sailboats to actually power a rudder in the water, or power a propeller in the water. Basic sketches are, nobody's going to know what that is. That's actually a sketch for an engine I actually made that has no moving parts. It's pretty cool. And of course, some of my ideas for a boat that actually has a dome over it. I didn't get to finish all that out, but basically it's so that it'll roll. But even if it rolls, because it's round, it'll always self-right. And then because it's got compartmentalized bricks, well, we'll not get into that. That's a lot of stuff nobody cares about. We don't care about ship lines or anything of that nature, or trying to design a new friggin' car. Obviously not. You know, I had some different ideas, but you know, the stuff that I was trying to come up with, the ideas I was looking at, some of the video games, the guy asked me for some real quick sketches conceptually for a video game, and I gave him some. This is what I used to do, is just draw pictures. I drew pictures of people. Now everywhere I go, I got to deal with this kind of stuff. You know, I showed you guys a whole video full of news articles with many of these same people. This one's Dr. Kennard. Let's see. I did try to explain about the Selena Not Afraid situation and get them to understand that. Here's stuff with Kern. I mean, there's a whole stack of these. There's everybody in there from Ted Hill to Dr. Arata to Sergeant Kern, or I guess she wasn't actually a sergeant. She was supposed to be the mental health lady. Her and a guy named Jensen, they were both dickwads. Kern would almost pretend to be a nice person once in a while, but this is the moral of the story. You don't tell on bad fucking cops. When they make a mistake, all they got to do is call you mentally ill and gaslight the shit out of you. What is that, Rhodes Olten? Being harmed everywhere you go. I can't imagine another homeless person being able to keep 3 full totes full of evidence of this bullshit. And this isn't even all of them. I got 3 more in here. 2 of them are even bigger than that. One of them is the same size. I also got voluntary statement forms for the Nebraska State Patrol. I've filled out a few of those and sent them in over the decade. Most of a decade. Scotts Bluff County Detention Center Discipline Report. What a dick. Self-care on the inside. What a joke. This is reality, folk.